Now, we've talked a lot about this whole process, and so we're at that final stage where we're going to roll this out. We're going to roll out our new recipe. Now, I'm sure districts are going to do it differently, but we're going to talk a little bit about what we do in Montague and what it looks like. I want to revisit this whole process that we talked about, and so I want to take a look at our recipe development sheet where we do our initial testing, and that's really with a smaller group where we have the recipe and we're trying it out. And we're doing that maybe 2 or 3 times to get it till we want. And then the next step is where we're refining it, where we're doing it with all of our cooks and maybe a smaller group of students or classrooms or those type of things, and really kind of getting the idea of what the students feel is, what of our process is. And we've really gotten this down where we like, okay, we know how to do this. And we're going to do the rollout. Our rollout process is really to start in one building with maybe like 100 servings. So you're not going to be overwhelmed with it, but you really get a flavor of what you need to do and get any feedback or operations or those type of things that you would need to do it. And then once you've done it in that one building, then you would roll it out in multiple buildings. And there's a part of it where we really want to have a really good cycle for it. So in our world, we're going to serve it the next 3 weeks. Now, as we've gone through this process, there's a lot involved in this. And a lot of you might be saying, you know what, this is too much work for one recipe. It's a lot of effort and a lot of time, and it just isn't that important that I'm going to put this effort into it. And what I really want to stress is I think there's a lot of benefits that by doing this process, yes, you'll end up with one recipe that your staff knows really well, that has the best chance of success with students because you've exposed them to it. But there's a lot of other benefits to that. First and foremost, how does it improve your overall program with your kitchen staff? There is definitely an ownership to recipes. The staff know the recipes, they feel they've had input in it, so they are challenged for success. I believe it's really transformed our staff to see students as guests. A lot of times in a school, a student is just seen as someone that we're controlling, that we're telling what to do, that they need to sit here and go here then and do this. I think it's really important in our programs that we look at our students as guests. They have options if they want to eat with us or not. And we need to have a mentality of service for these students. And I think this program of talking to students and connecting with them really make a difference. I think it changes our staff's eye for detail. When you're really getting down and you're looking at those different things that say, yes, this is a quality meal. You know, what do the carrots look like in this dish? You know, how is this? That eye for detail can go across the board of different areas that you would be looking at it. The other thing, my staff is flexible of the weirdness that we do now, that we're going to try different recipes and we're going to try different things and we're going to continue to do it. And so they've built a little bit of flexibility that, you know what, it's not going to be the same every day, that we are going to change things up, that we're going to try different things and get different people to help us with that. Pride in work. When we're doing some of these recipes and my staff are serving it and they're doing it right, you can sense the pride that they have in their job. And also the staff having a voice. Now, what are the benefits for students? For me, there's that huge piece of that we're building that relationship between the food service program and the students, where we're having direct conversation and the students have a voice in what we get. More often than not, when we're building these recipes and we're determining what we want them to look like and how they are, and it fits my flavor profile, we get to the student part and it doesn't quite cut it. And it just, the idea that I can decide what kids are going to like is crazy. And so getting a student voice and allowing them to have that voice, they are just so excited to do it, and they are happy to be part of this process. Building a culture of students trying new things. You know, we've done this program with the CTC program for over 8 years. And so that means if you're in 8th or 9th grade, every year in our school, 2 or 3 times a year, we're bringing out a bunch of new items for kids to try. And you can see that transformation now when you're doing that they know exactly what's going on. And they're eager to try new foods and see if they like it and those type of things. And that builds your profile as a program. And students building that relationship with the staff. If my kitchen staff is having conversations with kids on how they like food and what they think kids like, that conversation can happen on a more regular basis, not when I'm orchestrating it. So I really think while this process is intensive and it takes a lot of time and effort, in my program I look to do it maybe once or twice a year, that we would go through this full process to roll out a new menu item. I think those other benefits of it are really what make the difference. We really want to thank you for watching our presentation. We hope you got some useful tips for it that you can use. On the slide is our contact information. Feel free if you want to reach out and connect with us, if you have any questions or ideas or things like that. Once again, we'd like to thank Team Nutrition and the Michigan Department of Education for making all this possible.
And be sure to remember, if you have any questions that are recipe specific, flavor specific, or chef specific, I'm a great resource. If your questions are more about how nutrition components credit, please check in with Dan.